Hey everybody, Hugh Kellenberger here, Dustin Dopirak, ScoopTalk, just the two HT guys tonight.
Indeed. The ginger has already left.
War Eagle!
War Eagle.
Anyways, Indiana wins another non-conference game. Now 7-0 at Assembly Hall this season. 7-1 overall.
Wow, exciting.
It was not an exciting game.
No, it's not.
We really, I think even Don Fisher probably had trouble making this one appear exciting.
Yeah. It's, this is their schedule. Crean has kind of started to,
Defend
mention it. Not so much even defend, so much as sort of admit lately in recent press conferences that, hey, we had to learn how to win. That's what the schedule was for.
Yeah.
Didn't come out. He has not come out and used the word cupcake or anything like that yet, but I think he's kind of saying, look, this is...
We knew we were going to win these games.
There were a reason, we scheduled like this. There obviously, as he said before, each of these games presents some kind of a challenge, but it's not a major league conference type of a challenge, and you kind of found that out Wednesday night against Boston College.
How bad would it have been if they had lost one of these?
Pretty bad, but it would be pretty surprising too. There was never a point where really any of these was in doubt.
No, they haven't been in danger.
I don't remember there being a dangerous game out of any of these.
Would it be fair to say that Ferris State was a better opponent than the last 7 teams?
Yeah, you weren't here for this on Wednesday night, but Tom actually called Ferris State the defining moment of the season so far.
Really?
And he was right. I don't think there's really any doubt about it.
Yeah,
actually.
maybe.
That's he said that we had to win a game like that. To date, basically, that's the defining moment of the season was the Ferris State game. And he was not kidding at all. He was exactly right, and I would not argue with him.
Right. They had to come back in the second half of that game.
Mm-hmm.
We thought they were dead.
Yeah.
They looked every bit like a team that was going to lose to a Division II team in exhibition. They came back, and they've been a really good second half team.
They have been.
As slow starting as Indiana has been, and I cannot figure out why really that is.
Yeah. I think there's a bunch of reasons. I think I don't know if you would go so far as to say that their strength is their depth right now, but I think their strength is what they can do with lineups. I don't think they're look at their starting lineup right now. Jordan Hulls, was discussed today, and we will discuss further. Jordan Hulls is playing the power forward. That's what's happening. He is actually
that's real.
That's a real thing. The 6 foot, 175-pound Jordan Hulls in the starting lineup is playing power forward. He's not defending power forward, but he's playing it. Right. So that obviously tells you some things, and I think the lineup situation they have, now that Guy-Marc Michel is not coming back at any point in time, it makes for this. You have Watford playing the 3, and they're still going to make him play the 3, even though they don't have a 4. And he's
better at the 3 than he is at the 4.
He is better at the 3 than he is at the 4.
Yeah.
So even though you don't have a real 4, they're going with it anyway. And right out of the gate, there are advantages, things you could take advantage of there. But as the game moves along, maybe there's more than they can take advantage of, and they can change up their lineup a little bit. Bring in guys like Oladipo and Sheehy and to add a spark, and Jeremiah Rivers even though he's not scoring, or even though he's not even thinking about shooting, is adding
he's
something.
One of the guys that can defend a 4 too because of his speed, and
he's got speed, size, athletic ability, and you can pretty much put him on anybody.
Him and
except
Oladipo,
for maybe a true center.
Right, him and Oladipo are the 2 guys that really have a lot of versatility on the defensive end.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you're right. I think the lineups, Indiana is able to adjust to whatever the other team is doing, and kind of ebb and flow of the game. They don't go on this devastating run. Yeah. They just score a point more than you do per minute, and before you know it,
and then maybe there's a 10-0 or there's an 8-0. There hasn't been a lot of those 22-0 runs or 22-4 stretched out ones. There's been maybe 1 or 2 against the teams that they were really, overmatching. The Northwestern State game, I think, was one where
they had a really long run, but I think that may have been the first. That was the first time, I think, this season where a coach had to call a timeout.
Yeah.
To stop it.
Yeah, because it was really getting out of hand.
Right.
You're right. That hasn't happened a whole heck of a lot. But like you said, it's a couple points per minute. It's a slow,
it's the
gradual
death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah, they kind of just kind of grind you to death. And yeah, that's really how it was.
Well, let's talk about the next opponent. You guys may have heard from this one. You guys may have heard of them. They're from Kentucky.
I think they're south of here.
The Commonwealth State.
There's an Italian guy who coaches
inside the hall. Alex Bozich lives there.
Ah, yeah, right. And I know he's a huge fan of them too.
All right.
Loves everything about them.
Loves John Calipari.
Huge fan of him.
Huge fan.
Alex just threw his computer.
As I'm sure many of you are huge fans of John Calipari.
They run an extremely clean program.
They do. Hey, they have not yet been proven of anything.
Never.
Not yet. Anyways, that's the next opponent. Next Saturday, we will be in Lexington.
We will.
To watch Indiana try to take on Kentucky.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, today was I probably watched more of Kentucky today than I have so far this year, than playing Carolina. Yeah. And I mean, God, they do have some athletes. Obviously, I don't think anyone argued that team is as good as it was a year ago.
No,
that group of freshmen was disgusting, out of hand, ridiculous. There's no DeMarcus Cousins here. Brandon Knight is not John Wall, but Terrence Jones is really impressive. I mean, I think he's probably. They didn't really have a wing like him. I mean, they had Patterson, obviously.
They had Patterson, but Patterson was really a 4.
Yeah, they didn't have that 3 that Jones brings in. He's kind of a different player than they've had, so it's a different matchup than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Still really talented, but not on that. We're gonna just score 100 on everybody and dunk on everybody's head type that they had a year ago. Jones is that guy still. Jones can hang with that.
Right.
And Knight's pretty close. But
the downfall.
Durant Lamb's a nice player too.
The downfall of the one and done philosophy is that you're not always able to just reload.
Yeah.
Sometimes
they come close.
They come close, but Knight is not John Wall. He's not Derrick Rose.
Tyreek Evans.
Tyreek Evans. He's not the other guys that Calipari has had. I think Durant Lamb is a really good player.
Yeah.
He really kept him in the game today against Carolina.
He did. He really did.
He was probably the one guy down the stretch that wasn't scared of the environment. He was the one guy that was kind of going to win, especially since Terrence Jones was on the bench.
Right. So now you got to figure out how does this team match up with them. That's really what we're getting at, because if we talk for Kentucky any longer, you guys might actually press stop.
Yeah. I kind of wrote today about Jeremiah Rivers, the impact he's making. I think he wants Brandon Knight.
Yeah.
He talked about the relationship he kind of has with Knight through his brother. It's a guy that, good programs have guys like Jeremiah Rivers, the senior that is bought into a role that kind of wanted to be something else, but realized that it wasn't going to be the case. He's not a point guard, but he knows what he can do. He can defend. He can be a tough guy.
Right. I think what's really impressive, I'm a little bit surprised that he's been this willing to do this, basically. And we haven't gotten anybody to flat out say, all right, what did Tom tell you? I don't know if you did today.
No.
But, at what point did he flat out say, you don't get to shoot this year?
I don't know if that conversation ever really happened. I think.
Right.
I don't think that conversation happens. I think it's more of a, in the natural progression of things.
Right, but it's a major difference from what he was doing a year ago. I mean,
it is.
He was trying to make things happen last year, and that was what some people complained about, was that he was maybe trying to go full bore at the rim too often, or he was taking some shots he shouldn't have taken. I mean, never took threes, but maybe trying to hit that mid-range thing that was kind of there and kind of not.
Yeah,
and doing a lot of things to try to get himself some offense, because he came in thinking, all right, I didn't get to do anything at Georgetown in this Princeton offense. I want to do something. I want to be able to be creative in this offense. I want to be free in this. I want to be allowed to do what I want to do.
And that was when Tom was still very much preaching that Indiana was going to be a very wide open, very fast-paced style.
Right. And they were early.
They were early. He's kind of backed off of that because the personnel right now doesn't fit that.
Right.
But
at least for the future. I mean, last year non-conference they could do that.
Right.
But so that's kind of the question. But what impresses me, is that he he has not tried to grab it back. Yeah. He's not tried to retake the reins, not tried to take the point guard back. He seems to be willing and comfortable with the idea, okay, I'm going to play defense, I'm going to rebound, I'm going to pass the ball, I'm not going to try to make overly slick passes that are going to try to get me on SportsCenter. I'm just going to put the ball where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And he's done that. He's made that transition quicker than I think a lot of people would, and quicker than I frankly thought he would.
Right. All right. So Dustin, Indiana is going to be more experienced than Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky is going to be at home. Kentucky's going to be in the top 25 still.
Right.
Indiana is not going to be in the top 25.
Right.
Does Indiana have a chance of pulling off the upset?
They have a chance. I don't think it happens just because I don't think they have anybody that's going to be able to score with Terrence Jones or with Brandon Knight. I just don't think they have. I think they'll put up a good, solid fight on the road. I don't think they're going to go over there and get embarrassed.
You know what's scary is not. What's his face? Reggie Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Just scored 27.
Right. He's a heck of a player.
He's a heck of a player, but I mean, Lamb's a very similar player and probably better at a lot of the little things.
Maybe, yeah.
And Jackson was really able to score when he wanted to score.
Right. I mean, Reggie Jackson's the one high level player they've had to deal with so far, and he scored 27 points.
Right.
So
they just couldn't get.
They're going to have at least 2, maybe 3 high level players, and they got to prove they can do something against them.
That was the problem last year.
They haven't proven anything far enough that, again, they've made some strides, they've done some positive things, but to go so far as to say they're going to go shut down those guys, it's a bit much to ask.
All right, real quick.
We'll see.
We'll see. Is there a new football coach by the time we go to Lexington?
Yes, definitely.
Is it Kevin Wilson?
I think so.
Does
it happen tomorrow? I don't know.
No. The second half is going on as we record this.
Right.
Every touchdown Oklahoma scores from here on in.
$25,000 bonus.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.